It was Christmas morning, and I was at my folks' place, feeling like I'd already lost before the day even started. My name's Ethan. I'm 24, and I'd moved back home after life threw me a curveball. College didn't work out. I switched majors too many times, got kicked out of my program, and yeah, I was a mess for a while. I'm not making excuses, just laying it out. My dad, Greg, he's never let me forget it. He's got this thing where he treats everything like a contest, and I've been the loser in his eyes since I was a kid. My younger brother, Tyler, he's 21 and the golden boy. Always has been. Dad says Tyler's got his drive, his smarts. Me? I'm just the guy who can't get it right. Mom, Linda, she's quieter, always trying to keep the peace. She doesn't pick fights, but she doesn't stop them either. She just nods along with Dad, like she's afraid to rock the boat. So that morning, I wake up to this weird vibe. I hear them whispering in the kitchen, which isn't normal. Dad's usually loud as a foghorn. I drag myself downstairs, and Dad's grinning, but it's not a real smile. Tyler's already up, dressed like he's heading to a photo shoot, scrolling on his phone. Dad claps his hands and says, "Well, look who decided to join us, the late riser." I mutter, "It's only 8, but I sit down anyway." Mom hands me a mug of coffee. No, good morning. No, nothing. She's fidgeting, which she does when she's nervous, but this feels different. Tyler's barely looking up, just smirking at his screen. Dad starts in with these little jabs, saying stuff like, "Some people know how to earn their keep around here." I'm used to it, so I just sip my coffee, thinking, let's get this over with. Then Dad stands up, puts his arm around Tyler, and says, "All right, time for the big reveal." I'm thinking, what now? We all head to the front door, and when he swings it open, there's a shiny new truck in the driveway, complete with a giant green bell. Tyler loses it, whooping and running out to the truck like he's won the lottery. Mom's glowing, snapping pictures. I'm standing there, feeling like I just got punched in the gut. It's not about the truck, not really, it's that they didn't even pretend this was for both of us. Dad turns to me, chuckles, and says, "Santa don't bring gifts to quitters, Ethan." He takes a swig of his coffee, still laughing. Mom hands me a paper bag from the fridge, yesterday's meatloaf, and some soggy green beans, and says, "Thought you might want this for later." Like I'm some stray they're tossing scraps to. I'm not gonna lie. I've messed up plenty. I'm not perfect, but I've been trying. I worked all last summer, paid my share of the bills, did whatever they asked. It's never enough. Tyler's just standing there, keys in his hand, grinning like he planned this. Dad says, "Maybe if you start acting like a man, you'll get something worth having next year." That's when I snap. I toss the bag on the table and it knocks over Mom's coffee cup. Dad gets in my face, yelling, "You think you're owed something? You've never done a damn thing for us." I shout back, "I'm done with this. You want to treat me like dirt? I'll make my own way." He sneers, "Good luck, kid. You'll be back in a week." I grab my phone, my wallet, and I'm out the door. No code, no plan, just rage. I hear Mom call after me, "Ethan, don't be ridiculous, come back." But I keep walking. Tyler's already in the truck, blasting music, probably posting it online for his buddies to see. I head to my buddy Jake's place, a couple miles away. He lets me crash on his couch, no questions asked, just hands me a beer and says, "Rough day?" I tell him, "My family just made it real clear I'm not part of it." He nods like he gets it. That's when I decide, I'm not going back. They think they can humiliate me and I'll just take it? Nah, they're about to see what happens when you push someone too far. This ain't the end. It's just the beginning. After storming out on Christmas, I ended up at my buddy Jake's place, crashing on his lumpy couch that smelled like old pizza. I'm Ethan, 24, and I just walked away from my folks' house after they made it crystal clear I'm the family screw-up. My dad, Greg, and Mom, Linda, gifted my younger brother, Tyler, a brand new truck, while I got a paper bag of meatloaf scraps and a lecture about being a quitter. I was done. Jake didn't pry too much, just tossed me a blanket and said, "You good, man?" I nodded, but I wasn't. I was fuming, my hands shaking as I tried to process it all. The next morning, Jake's making coffee, and he asks, "You gonna call your mom, or what?" I shake my head. Not unless they call first. I'm not begging for scraps. He shrugs, like, fair enough. That's when I start piecing together a plan. I spend the next couple weeks at Jake's, sleeping in his spare room that's half storage, half junk pile. I'm scouring job apps, hitting up local listings, calling anyone who might need a hand. I'm not picky, warehouse work, delivery, whatever pays. It's rough, and I'm barely scraping by, but what really gets me is the silence from my family. No calls, no texts, nothing. Day 4, I check my phone, 0 notifications. It's like I vanished, and they're fine with it. Then I see Mom's social media. She's posted a dozen pictures of Tyler with his truck, all smiles, with captions about hard work paying off. I'm not even mentioned, like I wasn't there when Dad called me a quitter in front of everyone. I show Jake, and he just whistles. "Man, your folks are something else." It stings, but it also lights a fire. They're not even pretending to care, and they're not hiding it from anyone. My aunt, Karen, calls a few days later, says she saw the posts and figured it was a big day. I tell her straight, "Yeah, big day for Tyler." Me? They handed me leftovers and told me I'm nothing. She pauses, then says, "Greg's always been hard on you. Just keep your head down, Ethan." It's not much, but it's the first time someone doesn't act like I'm making it up. Tyler sends me a text a week later, just a photo of him leaning on the truck, grinning, with a caption, winning. I don't reply. I'm not playing his game. That's when it hits me. This isn't new. Dad's always pitted us against each other, like life's a race and only one of us can win. Tyler's good at playing along, saying what Dad wants to hear, flashing that perfect smile. Me? I stumbled, switched majors, lost my way, and Dad decided I was a lost cause. Mom just goes along to keep things calm. It's been like this forever, but I'm done letting it define me. I keep hustling, and after a few weeks, I find a room to rent with 2 guys in a beat-up house across town. It's not fancy, leaky faucet, no heat half the time, but it's mine. I'm picking up shifts at a hardware store, saving every penny. It's not easy. I'm eating cheap ramen, using the neighbor's Wi-Fi when I can, and every time I see another post from my family, it's like a knife in my chest. But I'm also starting to feel something else, freedom. If they don't want me, I don't need them. I don't need their approval to prove I'm worth something. Then I hear from my uncle, Tom, who calls about some family barbecue. He casually asks if I'm still living off Mom and Dad. I'm like, what? I've been gone since Christmas, working, paying my own way. He sounds surprised, says Dad told everyone I was too lazy to get a job, causing trouble. That's when I realize they're not just ignoring me, they're spreading lies to make themselves look better. I tell Tom the truth. I left because they treated me like garbage. I'm doing fine without them. He mumbles something about family drama and changes the topic, but I can tell he's not sure who to believe. That's when I decide to get smart. I'm not going to blast them online or make a scene. That's not me. But I start setting the record straight. When cousins or aunts ask why I'm not around, I tell them, calm and clear, Dad and Mom made it obvious I'm not welcome. I'm building my own life now. I also start helping out where I can. My cousin needs a ride to work? I'm there. My aunt's got a busted laptop? I fix it. Little by little, people start noticing I'm not the deadbeat Dad says I am. They're starting to ask questions, and I'm ready to answer. This ain't over. My family thought they could write me off, but I'm just getting started. I'm Ethan, 24, and it's been a few months since I walked out of my parents' house on Christmas after they handed me a bag of leftovers while my brother, Tyler, got a shiny new truck. My dad, Greg, called me a quitter, and my mom, Linda, just stood there, letting it happen. I've been on my own since, crashing at my buddy Jake's place for a bit before finding a cheap room to rent with 2 other guys. Life's not glamorous. I'm working shifts at a hardware store, eating ramen, and dodging my family's attempts to pull me back into their mess. But I'm starting to figure out who I am without them. I'm hustling, stacking cash wherever I can. The hardware store's not bad. My boss, Mike, says I'm reliable, which feels good after years of Dad telling me I'm nothing. I'm also doing odd jobs on the side, fixing shelves, moving furniture, anything that pays. My roommates, Chris and Dan, are all right. They don't ask too many questions, and we split the bills fair. The house is a dump, but it's freedom. I don't have to answer to anyone, and that's worth more than a warm bed at my folks' place. What's wild is how my family's acting like I don't exist. Mom's still posting online about Tyler's big wins like he's some superstar. Last week, she shared a photo of him with the truck, captioning it, "Proud of my boy who knows how to work hard." I'm not in any of their posts, not even a mention. It's like I was never part of the family. I show my coworker, Sarah, and she just shakes her head. That's cold, Ethan. They're acting like your dad. It hurts, but it also makes me double down. If they want to erase me, I'll make sure they can't ignore me forever. My cousin, Rachel, texts me out of the blue, asking why I missed the family Easter brunch. I tell her the truth. Dad and Mom made it clear I'm not wanted. I'm not sitting through another round of their crap. She's quiet for a bit, then says, I heard Dad's side, but it didn't add up. You okay? I say I'm fine, just building my own life. She doesn't push, but I can tell she's starting to see through my parents' story. That's when I realize the tide's shifting, even if it's slow. People are noticing I'm not the loser Dad paints me as. Tyler's another story. He keeps sending me these smug texts, pictures of him driving the truck, eating at fancy spots, living it up. One says, "Too bad you're missing out, bro." I don't bite. He's always been Dad's mini-me, soaking up the praise, doing whatever gets him ahead. But I'm starting to see cracks. His posts are getting weird, less flashy, more whiny. Stuff like, "Real ones stick around, fakes bail." I'm guessing things aren't as perfect as he's pretending. Then I get a call from my uncle, Pete, who's always been the laid-back one. He's like, "Your dad's saying you're off causing trouble, refusing to work." That true? I laugh, tell him, "Pete, I've been working my tail off. Left their house because they treated me like dirt. Check my hours at the hardware store if you don't believe me." He's quiet, then says, "Yeah, Greg's always had a big mouth. Keep doing you, kid." It's not much, but it's enough to know the family's starting to question Dad's version of events. I'm not just sitting back, though. I'm playing it smart. When family asks about me, I don't whine. I just lay out the facts. Dad gave Tyler a truck, gave me leftovers, told me I'm a quitter. I left to prove him wrong. I'm also showing up for others. My aunt needed help painting her garage. I spent a Saturday on it. My cousin's car broke down. I gave him a lift. Word's getting around that I'm not some deadbeat. People are talking, and Dad's narrative's starting to crumble. The best part? I'm starting to feel like I don't need their approval. Every paycheck, every late-night shift, every time I fix something for someone. It's proof I'm not who Dad says I am. I'm not rich, not famous, but I'm standing on my own 2 feet. My family thought they could write me off, but I'm carving out my own space. They're gonna see what happens when you underestimate someone like me. This is just the warm-up. I'm Ethan, 24, and it's been about 6 months since I walked out of my parents' house on Christmas, leaving behind a bag of leftovers and their insults. My dad, Greg, and mom, Linda, made it clear I'm the family failure, while my brother, Tyler, got a new truck and all their praise. I've been building my own life since, working at a hardware store, renting a rundown place with 2 roommates, and proving I don't need my family's approval. I'm not rolling in cash, but I'm getting by, and that's more than they thought I could do. Things are starting to shift, and not just for me. I'm noticing my family's perfect little world ain't so perfect anymore. Tyler's social media used to be all truck selfies and flexing, but now it's different. He's posting vague stuff, quotes about loyalty and fake people, like he's mad at the world. I'm guessing the golden boy's hitting some bumps. Mom's posts are slowing down too. No more gushing about Tyler's hard work. It's mostly random stuff, like pictures of her garden or Bible verses about forgiveness. I ain't buying it. She's trying to act like everything's fine, but I know better. I'm still working my tail off at the hardware store, picking up extra shifts when I can. My boss, Mike, says I'm one of his best guys, which feels good after years of Dad calling me useless. I'm also helping out family when they need it, fixing my cousin Rachel's leaky sink, driving my Aunt Karen to the store. I don't make a big deal out of it, but people notice. My Uncle Pete called me up, said, "Heard you're doing all right, Ethan. Your dad's been quiet lately." I just said, "Yeah, I'm keeping busy. He can say what he wants." Pete laughed, like he knew Dad's full of it. Then I hear from my cousin, Matt, who's always been nosy. He texts, asking what's going on with my folks. "Heard they're having money trouble," he says. Something about the truck payments. I'm not surprised. That truck was a big show, probably more than they could afford. I tell Matt, "Don't know, don't care. I'm not part of their mess anymore." He pushes, says Dad's been telling people I abandoned the family. I laugh. Abandoned? They kicked me out with leftovers, Matt. I'm just living my life. He doesn't say much after that, but I know he's spreading the word. Tyler tries to stir things up. He shows up at the hardware store one day, leaning against his truck like he's some big shot. He's all smiles, but it's fake. "Hey, Ethan, you still mad about Christmas?" he says, loud enough for my coworkers to hear. I keep stacking boxes, don't even look at him. Not mad, just done. You got what you wanted. Leave me alone. He gets pissed, says, "You're just jealous. Always have been." I turn, look him dead in the eye. "Jealous of what? A truck you're probably gonna crash? Get out of here, Tyler." He mutters something and peels out of the parking lot. My coworker Sarah saw the whole thing, says, "Your brother's a piece of work." I just nod. What's really getting to me is Dad's lies. I run into our neighbor, Mrs. Thompson, at the gas station. She's all, "Ethan, your mom said you're off traveling. Must be nice." I set her straight. "Nah, I've been working right here. Left home because they didn't want me around." She looks confused, says, "That's not what Greg told me." I shrug. He's got a story, I've got the truth. I can tell she's thinking it over, and that's enough for me. Word's spreading, and Dad's losing his grip on the narrative. I'm playing it smart now. I don't blast my family online, that's not my style. But when people ask, I tell it like it is. Dad and Mom chose Tyler, treated me like garbage. I'm doing fine without them. I keep helping out family, too. When my aunt needed someone to mow her lawn, I showed up. When Matt needed a hand moving, I was there. People are starting to see I'm not the deadbeat Dad's been selling. And every time I ignore a text from Mom or Dad, it's like I'm taking back a piece of myself. I'm not gonna lie, it's not all easy. Some nights, I'm exhausted, eating cheap noodles, wondering if I'm crazy for cutting them off. But then I remember Dad's smirk, Mom's silence, Tyler's smug grin. I'm not going back to that. They thought they could break me, but they're the ones starting to crack. I'm just getting warmed up, and they're about to find out what happens when you push someone too far. I'm Ethan, 24, and it's been almost a year since I left my parents' house on Christmas after they gave my brother, Tyler, a new truck and handed me a bag of leftovers like I was nothing. My dad, Greg, called me a quitter, and my mom, Linda, just let it happen. I'd been on my own since, working at a hardware store, living in a rundown rental with 2 roommates, and building a life without their shadow. I'm not rich, but I'm free, and that's something they can't take away. Lately, I've noticed my family's perfect image is falling apart. Tyler's not posting as much about his truck, probably because he scratched it up in a fender bender, from what my cousin Rachel told me. Mom's social media is all forced positivity, like she's trying to convince herself everything's fine. Dad's quieter, too, which ain't like him. I'm still hustling at the hardware store, and my boss, Mike, just gave me a raise, saying I'm his go-to guy. It's small, but it's mine. I'm also picking up side gigs, fixing decks, hauling junk, anything to keep the cash coming. The real shift is with the family. People are talking. My Aunt Karen pulled me aside at a cousin's birthday party, said, "Ethan, your dad's been saying you're ungrateful, but I see you helping everyone. What's the real story?" I told her straight. They gave Tyler a truck, gave me scraps, told me I'm a failure. I left to prove them wrong. She nodded, said, Greg's always been too hard on you. That's when I knew the tide was turning. People aren't buying Dad's lies anymore. Tyler tried to mess with me again. He sent a text with a picture of him and Dad, captioned, "Family sticks together." I didn't reply, but I showed it to my coworker Sarah, who said, "He's desperate for attention." She's right. Tyler's always needed Dad's approval, but now it's like he's clinging to it. I heard from Matt, my cousin, that Tyler's been fighting with Dad, something about money. Turns out, the truck payments are killing them. They put down a big chunk to show off, but now they're drowning in debt. I ain't surprised. Dad's always cared more about looking good than being smart. I'm playing my cards right. I don't badmouth my family, but I don't hide the truth. When my Uncle Pete asked why I skipped a family barbecue, I said, not going where I'm not wanted. Dad made that clear last Christmas. Pete didn't argue, just said, "You're doing all right, kid." I'm also making sure I'm there for others. When Rachel needed help with her kid's school project, I spent an afternoon on it. When my neighbor, Mrs. Thompson, needed her porch fixed, I did it for free. Word spreading that I'm reliable, not the deadbeat Dad's been selling. Then Dad tried to pull me back in. He called, left a voicemail, "Ethan, we need to talk." Family's supposed to help each other. No apology, just guilt. I didn't call back. Mom texted, asking if I could stop by to talk about some bills. I left it on read. They're feeling the heat, and I'm not lifting a finger to bail them out. I ran into Mrs. Thompson again, and she said, "Your mom told me you're off finding yourself." That true? I laughed. Nah, I'm right here, working. They just don't like that I'm not their punching bag anymore. She looked thoughtful, and I knew she'd tell the other neighbors. I'm not just dodging their drama, I'm building something real. Every paycheck, every job I finish, it's proof I'm not who they said I am. Some nights, I'm beat, eating cereal for dinner, but I'm proud. They thought they could write me off, but I'm rewriting the story. They're starting to see what happens when you push someone too far, and I'm just getting started. I'm Ethan, 24, and it's been over a year since I walked out on my family after that Christmas disaster, where my dad, Greg, and mom, Linda, gave my brother, Tyler, a new truck and tossed me a bag of leftovers like I was trash. I've been grinding since, working at the hardware store, picking up side gigs, living in a cheap rental with 2 roommates. I'm not living large, but I'm standing tall, proving I don't need my family's approval to make it. Their world's crumbling, and I'm not shedding tears. Tyler's truck is a mess, 2 accidents, from what my cousin Matt says, and the insurance won't cover it all. Tyler's posts are all complaints now, whining about fake friends and hard times. Mom stopped posting altogether, and Dad's not bragging like he used to. Matt told me they're struggling with the truck payments, and Dad's been borrowing from relatives to keep up appearances. It's like their whole show was built on sand, and it's washing away. I'm still doing my thing, and people are noticing. My boss, Mike, put me in charge of inventory at the store, says I've got a knack for it. I'm saving up, thinking about taking some night classes to finish my degree. I'm also there for family when it counts. My Aunt Karen needed her car towed after a breakdown. I handled it. My cousin Rachel's kid had a school play. I showed up with a cheap bouquet for her. People talk, and the family's starting to see I'm not the failure Dad made me out to be. Dad tried to corner me at a family wedding. He pulled me aside, looking rough, like he hadn't slept. "Ethan, we're in a bind. Can you help with some bills?" "No, sorry. No, nothing." I looked him in the eye. "You told me I'm a quitter. I'm not your backup plan." He got mad, said, "You're turning your back on family." I shot back. "You turned your back on me first." I walked away, left him standing there. Mom tried next, texting me, "Can't we move past this? We're struggling." I replied, "You made your choice. I made mine." She didn't text back. Tyler showed up at my place unannounced, banging on the door. I let him in, but I wasn't playing nice. He was all, "You're killing Mom and Dad, acting like you're better than us." I laughed. "Better? I'm just living, Tyler. You got the truck. You got the praise. What's your problem?" He shoved me, said I was selfish. I pushed him back, told him, "Get out, or I'm calling the cops." He stormed off, slamming the door. I ain't scared of him anymore. The neighbors are catching on too. Mrs. Thompson asked if I was coming home for Thanksgiving. I said, "Home's where you're wanted." "That ain't with them." She nodded, like she got it. I heard Dad's been telling people I'm lost, but it's not sticking. I've been keeping receipts, screenshots of their texts, voicemails begging for help. When my Uncle Pete asked if I was helping my folks, I showed him the messages. They didn't want me until they needed me, I said. He didn't argue. I'm not just cutting them off. I'm building something better. I'm helping others, saving money, planning my future. Every time I ignore their calls, it's like I'm taking back my power. They thought they could break me, but they're the ones breaking. I'm not done yet. They're about to learn what happens when you underestimate someone who's got nothing left to lose. I'm Ethan, 24, and it's been nearly 2 years since I left my parents' house on Christmas after my dad, Greg, and mom, Linda, humiliated me with a bag of leftovers while my brother, Tyler, got a new truck in their praise. I've built my own life since, working at the hardware store, managing inventory, saving for night classes, and living in a modest rental with roommates. I'm not a hero, but I'm not the loser they said I was. I'm just a guy who refused to stay down. My family's in pieces now, and I didn't have to lift a finger to make it happen. Matt, my cousin, told me they lost the house. The bank foreclosed after they couldn't keep up with the truck payments and other debts. Tyler's truck got repossessed after his third accident. Insurance dropped him, and he couldn't afford repairs. He's back living with Mom and Dad, who moved in with my grandma, of all people. Mom's posts are gone, and Dad's not talking to half the family. Tyler's rants online are pathetic, blaming everyone but himself. They've been trying to pull me back. Mom started calling at odd hours, leaving voicemails. Ethan, we're falling apart. Please come home. Dad sent a long email, saying he was tough on me to make me strong, that he didn't mean to push me away. No apology, just excuses. Tyler texted a group chat with all of us, begging for money, saying, we're family. Ethan, you can't abandon us. I didn't reply. They don't want me. They want to fix for their mess. Dad showed up at my place once, looking like a ghost. He knocked, and I opened the door, but didn't let him in. We're desperate, he said, voice low. Help us, son. I stood my ground. You called me a quitter, said I was nothing. You don't get to need me now. He stared at the ground, fists clenched, then walked away. Mom tried next, showing up with red eyes, trying to hug me. I stepped back. You let it happen, Mom. You don't get to cry now. She sobbed, said, we thought we were doing right. I shut the door. The family split. Some cousins side with my parents, saying I'm heartless. Others, like Rachel and Pete, get it. Rachel called, said, I saw how they treated you. You don't owe them nothing. I've kept helping where I can, fixing my grandma's fence, driving Pete to the doctor. People know I'm not the guy Dad's lies made me out to be. Even Mrs. Thompson, the neighbor, said, you're a good kid, Ethan. They didn't deserve you. I didn't destroy my family. They did that themselves. I just refused to play their game. I'm taking classes now, working toward a degree in business. Mike's talking about promoting me to assistant manager. I've got plans, a future I'm building brick by brick. Some nights, I think about that Christmas, the bag of leftovers, Dad smirk. It still stings, but it's fuel. I don't need their love or their guilt. They wanted me to be a failure, but I'm not. They're the ones begging, living in Grandma's spare room, while I'm moving forward. I don't hate them, I just don't need them. If that makes me cold, so be it. I earned this ending, and it's mine. Thanks for listening, if you got this far. Sometimes, the best revenge is living well, and I'm doing just that.